You wouldn't believe the rapture with which this man's wife declared their marriage was over. I mean, there's over and then there's just like freaking over.
And then she's like, now there's a 1,000,000% chance we'll never, ever, ever, ever get back together.
But in this video, I'm going to show you how Chad defied all odds and turned his marriage around. He did this by embracing 3 powerful masculine archetypes that reignited her feminine energy and brought them closer than they ever were before. The second archetype I'm going to reveal to you softened his wife so much, well, she barely recognized him and he barely recognized her just because of how different they were, how feminine she was and how confident he felt.
She's so fucking happy around me all the time. She's so like girly, like dancing, singing, like just, I'm like, I don't, it's almost uncomfortable. Like, I don't know this woman.
And before I tell you how this man went through a roller coaster of emotions, I want to dive straight into the first archetype you need to embody. If you want her thinking about you in a positive way, wondering why she feels so drawn to you again, this is how. Oh, and by the way, it's also the first crucial step to any reconnection. There's no getting around this. You must become this man if you want to move forward with your wife. Here it is in Chad's words.
I gave her space, but then I didn't give her space. I was still leaving her notes that were, I gave her CLCs, but still leave little notes like at the coffee, like I used to, or look like a note in her car, and it was just pissing her off. But I think it was upsetting her because it was like you say, like they don't trust the change that they see. They think it's just like they're doing this just, as soon as I come around, they're gonna quit. And plus she was already involved with the other guy too. She'd been involved with him emotionally, now it was physical. And so that was upsetting her.
You must adopt the autonomy architect. So what is it and why is it important to have? And how can you screw it up? And what happens when you get it right? Being an autonomy architect means giving your wife the space that she needs. You're creating a solid, dependable foundation in your relationship. This allows her to feel free and breathe and think and decide without constantly trying to influence her. It's about being a steady presence that she can trust without the pressure of always being there or always using grand gestures to win her back. This is crucial because when you give her that space, you show her you respect her autonomy and that you're confident enough to stand on your own. This creates an environment where she can start to see you differently and consider reconnecting without feeling manipulated or pressured to do so. Chad's nice guy gestures like leaving notes on the coffee table or, they just all backfired because she was already dead set on leaving. And any attempt to pull her back only comes through the filter that you're being manipulative. So imagine an architect who keeps rearranging the furniture in a newly built house. It's overwhelming and prevents the residents from settling in. You see, she needs room to breathe and process her emotions without feeling guided in any direction. This separation acts like a reset button, showing her you respect her autonomy and can lead yourself. Only then will she feel safe enough to consider coming back to you. Remember the scene in Inception where Cobb or Leonardo DiCaprio is training Eridan and how to design and maintain dreams. He explains that being an architect is all about finding the right balance. You've got to create these awesome, detailed dream worlds, but if you try to control every little thing, it can turn into chaos. So the key here is to build the framework and then step back, letting the dream unfold on its own. That way the dreamer can explore freely without feeling pressured. You see, Chad was doing something similar in his marriage. He was trying so hard to show his wife that he changed by constantly proving himself. But instead of helping, it came off as forced and made her feel like he was just trying to manipulate her. She needed the space to choose him on her own terms without feeling pushed to do so. This was hard for Chad at first, just as it is for most men, and probably for you too. But once he finally embraced it, it became the best thing for him as well.
I've been with somebody since high school, so I've been with somebody for 25 years,
Yeah.
So, but the space wasn't good for me, but now the space is good for me. I enjoy it. I want that space to work on myself and be who I am and not just fill it with unnecessary things in life.
To adopt the autonomy archetype, start by respecting her space. Reduce constant messaging. Stop leaving unsolicited gifts and telling her that you love her in every single phone call you talk to her, okay? Or giving her a kiss on the cheek every single time you see her, if that's what you guys did. Meanwhile, shift your focus to your own growth, to your own goals. Always have something to do that way you don't have to stay around when she's around. Dive into hobbies, interests, prioritize your own physical health, and work on your mental and emotional development through practices like meditation, journaling. Become obsessed with you. By doing this, you not only build your own independence, but also create an environment where she feels free to re-engage on her own terms. However, your biggest tool in becoming this autonomy architect is something that most men overlook.
But I was scared. I didn't want her to know I was trying to save the marriage, even though I was trying to save it. Like, I was using all the words that you were saying in the course, but just like, you know what, I got to do this and work on myself, because if she knows I'm doing it for just her, one, it won't work, and two, she'll fucking push back and go like, no, get the hell out,
I'll repeat what Chad said because it's so important. If she knows you're doing this for her, it won't work.
And that's the kicker there, is like what keeps a lot of guys going, versus, giving up, is that, right? It's like doing it just, of course you want your wife back. Of course you do. I'm not going to deny that. But like, if you can find that internal motivation, right? That's what keeps you going. Like it's for the process, not the outcome, right? It's like the journey, not the destination. I know it's cliche, but it's true, right? It's like, it gives you that internal motivation, endless motivation, when you're like, I'm doing this because of the man I want to become.
And trust me, she'll know if you're making these changes for her or for you. Now, before I dive deep into the second principle, the one that unlocks unlimited feminine energy from her, I want to revisit the roller coaster Chad's marriage went through. He could actually sense the storm coming. Maybe you can relate to this. Have a listen.
She got back from a trip at the end of January with this big group of people, and that one guy was there, and I thought, well, fuck, like something's going on. And she came home that weekend, and we fought, and it was like, I just had an idea. I'm like, dude, there's a divorce coming. Like, can we do counseling? Can we do something? She never said divorce. And then she's like, yeah, we can do counseling together. That's fine. But I want to do it on my own first.
But even with the storm warnings and taking what he thought was a preventative measure through counseling, the emotional tornado touched down when he least expected it.
And so she met with the counselor like on a Thursday. I met with him on Friday, and my plan was to take her to lunch, like, and talk about it. And so we went to lunch, and we were driving, and she's like, I want a divorce. And so it's like, what the fuck? I was totally blown away, devastated, kind of like those. I kind of thought she would like never ever leave, and
But this is where things get crazier, because fast forward to Chad reaching out to us and immersing himself into our program, he was changing. He was becoming an architect of autonomy. He embodied the second very powerful archetype I'm about to share with you. But before I do, it's important to understand just how much more complicated his situation became. So you can see there's always hope, no matter how dire things may seem. Despite all of Chad's efforts and transformation, months down the road, he and his wife were separated and both were seeing other people. And that's just the beginning.
I took my girlfriend to a concert. She's like, well, now we're never going to get back together, is what my wife said. And it's 110% chance. I'm like, well, that sucks. Okay. And then a few months later, something happened. And then my wife's like, well, there's 1,000% chance we'll never get back together now that you're with Brittany doing this stuff. Oh, okay. And then, she finds out that my girlfriend was pregnant. And then she's like, now there's 1,000,000% chance we'll never, ever, ever, ever get back together. And so I was like, what am I doing to myself? Why am I doing this? And the funny thing is, she had even got to the point where she's like, I didn't think I'd ever be able to be intimate with you again without picturing you with somebody else, and
no matter what was happening with Chad and his girlfriend, deep down, he knew his one true love was his wife that he was separated from, the woman that was convinced it was completely over between them. But despite that, this second archetype gave Chad the spark to reignite her feelings, the strength to draw her back in a way that she couldn't resist, because she felt safe. When you embrace this persona, you inspire her to come closer without even trying. I'll let Chad explain it here.
The module about the feminine masculine energy, it was like, I teach martial arts all day. And so it's like, I'm masculine all day long when I'm on the floor teaching, but I'd come home and I wasn't. I was showing up as the nice guy, and she was having to be the masculine. Even in the aspect of running the business, we ran it together. I was very feminine in that. Like, I didn't want to step on toes. I didn't want to do this. And I wasn't ever confident in myself. It's like I had just one little shell of masculinity when I'm teaching martial arts. And other than that, it was feminine, and so understanding that push-pull dynamic, and understanding that as I show up as the leader, allows her to go back into her feminine state. And
so what he's talking about here is becoming the masculine catalyst. You have to become that steady force that she can rely on. A man that takes the lead with calm, confidence, and strength. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, Josh, you have no idea how masculine my wife is, how much she leads, how stubborn she is. She wants to take the lead. It's what she's been doing her whole life. That might be true to some extent, but it doesn't mean she wants to all the time. You'd be surprised at how much feminine energy she's ready to let out if she feels safe and supported. See, when a woman feels like she has to completely take charge, it's usually because she doesn't trust that you will. Deep down, most women crave the freedom to relax into their nurturing, playful, and expressive selves. For her to let go, she needs to trust that you can step up and lead. She needs to feel secure enough to stop steering the ship and see that you're strong and reliable. And when you do this, she can finally exhale and let that guard down, that wall of ice that she's been holding up, protecting herself with against you. She'll start to show more of her true self, being affectionate, open, the woman you remember. In the dynamic between the sun and the moon, the sun's steady, powerful presence allows the moon to reflect its light and brightly shine in the night sky. The moon doesn't create its own light, but relies on the sun's energy to illuminate its beauty. In your relationship, you are the sun. When you stand firm in your masculine energy, radiating strength, warmth, confidence, your wife in her feminine moon energy, she can reflect that energy back to you, embodying her feminine self more fully. Without the sun's light, the moon remains hidden. Your stable and supportive presence is what allows her to glow and show her true self, the feminine side of your wife that she's been longing to reconnect with. The playful, joyful side you remember dancing, singing, whatever it was, when your love was full of life.
And to be honest, it's been weird. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, she's so fucking happy around me all the time. She's so like girly, like dancing, singing, like just, I'm like, it's almost uncomfortable. Like, I don't know this woman because I shut her down so much in the past. I mean, that's how she was in the beginning, but I'm going like, okay, like I just gotta like, this isn't fake. This is just her being her and her acting the way she wants to act. And it's because of how I'm showing up.
It was like she was doing a happy dance around him. Her feminine energy was finally free to express itself. So how do you become the masculine catalyst? You need to start by setting clear boundaries with calm authority. It shows you respect yourself and the relationship. You are the leader, you are the protector of the relationship. You lead with certainty in everyday decisions of your life, whether it's dinner plans, handling finances, organizing weekend activities, you take the lead. And one handy tool we teach in our program is the 3-2-1 strategy for making dinner plans. Here's how it goes. You pick 3 restaurants. You say, all right, do you want Chinese, Mexican, or do you want Italian? She picks 2 out of those 3, and then you pick the final one. That's simple. You're giving her the freedom to choose, but you are making the final decision, okay? By the way, if you need support in understanding how you got to where you are in your marriage and a roadmap, a proven roadmap to get her back, click the link down below, set up a free call with your marriage evaluating team. Make sure you are fully invested and committed to change, and that call will help you out tremendously. It's also important to pursue your own passions. Having a purpose and direction in your life is magnetic to her. It makes her feel admiration and respect towards your drive. And look what happens when you start to embody this role.
And I loved it. I was freaking, it wasn't like somebody goes to church, they said he got high on vitamin J, vitamin Jesus, it's like, oh, Jesus this, but it was kind of like that way, but it wasn't, but it was just, it really, I love the person I was becoming. Like, I loved being sober, I love having a clear mind. I loved not just shutting down when I get upset. Like, you know what, I'm going to breathe through this, work through this, handle my emotions, and not just jump ship and go smoke weed or look at porn or whatever, and so I really did love that person I was turning into. And so I had to make it my sole focus.
And Chad just teased out our final archetype in this video, which I'm going to break down right now. After spending time apart and fully committing to these changes, the opportunity for them to reconnect in person started to arise more frequently.
The kids did swim lessons together this summer, and so it was really cool. It was for like 2 weeks straight. The kids were swimming, and we'd sit by each other and just talk, and it was like we're best friends again, And it wasn't she wasn't upset about my girlfriend because she wasn't there. It was just the 2 of us just hanging out again, and then.
But what happened when her emotions painted a different picture? When she became upset or overwhelmed, this is where the final archetype came into play. It gives you the tools to handle these moments with confidence and grace, transforming potentially explosive situations that can cause things to fall apart into opportunities for a deeper understanding, an opportunity for a deeper connection with her that opens the door to a level of intimacy that goes beyond anything you've experienced with her before. This is being the empathy anchor. Let's hear it in Chad's words.
Number 1 is validating her emotions, because I was masculine and just trying to fix it. No, you just got to do X, Y, Z, and you're fine. Instead of saying like, oh, that really sucks. I'm so sorry I put you through that. That must feel terrible,
You need to become that immovable anchor in the vast ocean of her emotions. Take the time now to even visualize yourself being so just strong and stable and grounded in who you are. Close your eyes and see yourself as this 20 golden ton anchor that's just stable, that nothing will move, no matter what winds of emotions and storms come your way. You see, her raging ocean may wash around you, and you're just there, holding presence, holding space, being non-reactive. This is the most vital skill that men master in our program. Once they get it down, they see that's the first thing that shifts the dynamic immediately. You want the fastest results quickest? It is learning to be unreactive, to not shut down, to not get angry, to not run away. Imagine her emotions as this powerful waves, and when she's venting, it's like those waves are just constantly crashing into you relentlessly. They're being unpredictable and overwhelming. If you try to fix her feelings, it's like trying to command the ocean to be still by yelling at it. Like, it's impossible, right? And frankly, it might make it worse. Instead, be the anchor in the storm. You can't calm the waves, but you can provide stability. When you stay grounded, she can feel the steady presence that allows her to weather the emotional storm. Let her know that you're there, unmoving, unshaken, ready to listen, ready to support, no matter how rough the seas may get. Then she's like, he's that guy for me. He's the person I just need in my life because of how stable he is.
And like labeling, when you are validating, labeling and asking, getting to that, what are you really trying to say? Like, this is what I'm hearing, and then if it's wrong, she'll tell me. But truly understanding what she's feeling and going through, because that's, like I said, that's all I need. Like, they have a headache. You don't need to go like, well, let me go get you some Tylenol. Like, to say, oh, that sucks. Like, I'm sure that really hurts. They know how to get their own Tylenol and fix it themselves. They just want to feel heard,
And research even shows that when people feel understood and supported, they're more open to real connection. By acknowledging and validating your wife's feelings, you're helping her to feel safe and heard, which fosters curiosity, love, and optimism in the relationship that's needed for it to thrive, to grow. Now, how did Chad achieve this? Well, it wasn't easy. Overcoming years of deeply ingrained habits and self-protective mechanisms is like rewiring your own emotional DNA.
Before, I would just totally shut down, and it would be, we're going to drive in silence for the next 2 hours. And maybe the whole weekend we'll just end up being roommates that just kind of ships passing in the night, like we're just existing around each other. But now she understands that there are times that I do want to shut down, because I've had this hard wiring for, I'm 44 years old, so it's been my body for a long time, and it's just like exercising a new muscle.
It took consistent effort, just like building a new muscle, to break the pattern. But here's an example of how he exercised it.
Like, it's going to take some time to get there. It's not always perfect. And so, if I got triggered by something she said while in the car, or if I said something that triggered her and she got upset, then she understands that if I say like, hey, give me just a couple minutes just to kind of breathe through this, gather my thoughts, and then we can discuss it. In the past, I would just want to totally run away. I'd want to like stop in the car. I'm getting out, like I'm walking, but she'd be okay if I said, hey, let's pull over for a second. I'm gonna get out, walk 2 laps around the car just to get some movement, because I'm very kinesthetic, so sometimes when I'm sitting there, like I can't think, but if I start moving, then it gets my brain going a little bit. And so she expressing that I need a little bit of space, but the space isn't to run away. The space is to just, let me just regulate myself so we can have this conversation, to have a productive conversation. So it's just a matter of like, if I need a moment, I can ask for it, because I wouldn't speak up. I wouldn't use my voice, but also reassure her that I'm coming back to this topic. I'm not taking that moment to run away and readdress it in 3 months.
Chad learned how to take the space when he needed it. It was a simple pause to gather his thoughts, or stopping the car to take a 30-second walk. He found ways to manage his emotions without shutting down. He harnessed the ability to remain calm and became that unwavering anchor of empathy, the man that his wife needed all along. And here's where they are now.
This weekend we're actually taking a little getaway. The grandma's going to watch the kids, and we're going to go up to Phoenix and go to a concert. You have saved not only saved my marriage, but dude, you've like saved my life and just helping me with this. And so, yeah, you look at my journey, it's pretty up. Like, I've got a kid coming in January, but my wife is like, we'll figure it out. Like,
I want to thank you for watching the video. Here's another video on another client that saved his marriage with our program. And he did all the work, of course. I'm just showing you guys the roadmap. You guys get to walk it. Thanks for watching the video. See you guys in the next one.